Be interesting to see if we have a gag reel tonight.
No Ronnie Adams harumphs. Not yet. I don't know if you saw, but our good buddy Jordan Lowe from Kapow, the Pop Culture Podcast, and
I didn't know that's where he was from, but yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's exactly where he's from. He's my brick and mortar guy. He's the guy that owns a comic shop down here in Marietta. Gave us some kudos. Also, our good buddy, shit. Why would I forget his name? Remington Hitchcock from Dueling Ogres also gave us some kudos on our YouTube video. So he listened to the raw, uncut footage of your father's tax advice.
I laughed pretty hard at that this morning because of course I read it. Of course I went right to it this morning. Not read it. I went right to the gag reel this morning. I play him at work, and I laughed my fucking ass off at that.
Some great stuff. All right. Well, tonight it's me and Mark Radulich right here on the Radulich and Broadcasting Network. We're a source material. Whew, man, you think I'd be able to? We're at 150 episodes, Mark Radulich.
Really?
Now, can I ask you a serious question?
Why the fuck did I take over your show?
Well, if it wasn't for you, we might not be at 150. I could probably tell you that much right now. But the actual
what you're saying is a year ago I stood behind you with a whip and started beating you and saying, "Go faster, do more,
more content." It's changed from more dinosaurs
to more content.
To more content.
Jesse used to be like, "Hey, no one's doing a show tonight. I'll fucking talk about a what if," and that changed to Jesse. Here's what we're doing for the next 3 years. You ready?
Here's my link to the Google Calendar.
Jesse used to go every other week, and I was just like, Jesse, I have show plans for every week for the next 3 years. We good? You good, Jesse?
I wish. I don't know if that was on an episode. We were probably talking off air, but I remember when I said that, your response was like something along the lines of, "Why the fuck are you doing that?" Or because I said, "Yeah, we go. I'd like to go about once. We go at least once every other week." Why are you doing that? Why? Like, okay, well, we'll do a weekly. Sure, I'm ready to go. But no, here's a question, Mark Radulich.
Yes, sir.
150 episodes right here on the Radulich and Broadcasting Network. Do I rival Long Road to Ruin yet? Did you keep count? My question.
No. First of all, yeah, I was gonna say I didn't keep count, so I don't know, but it's possible. I mean, yes. Because we didn't go every week with Long Road to Ruin. We went every other week. There were times where we only went once a month for one reason or another. We canceled last year. We started on trial, which some of the shows got canceled. But there were definitely some Long Road to Ruins that got canceled as well for one reason or another. So yeah, I think you might be further along than that show was.
The longest, as to steal the term or the phrase from the WWE Network, the longest running episodic program here on the Radulich and Broadcasting Network.
No, that's the Metal Hammer of Doom.
Oh, damn it.
And before the Metal Hammer of Doom is the 401 Ground and Pound Radio. That's probably the longest running. You change
your titles. Okay, you can't continue them. So the 401, oh yeah, that's right. Damn it. 411 Ground and Pound is I'll never catch up with them.
That's the mothership since I rebranded and got rid of and stopped doing the politics show. The longest running show on the Radulich and Broadcasting Network is the 401 Ground and Pound, and probably the second longest is the Metal Hammer of Doom.
Well, I will gladly take third spot. No problem there whatsoever. But watch out. I'm coming for you. Don't slip up, Winfrey. You better stay at it.
He UFC cards. He was very close to quitting. He was just like, I have had it with this, and I was like, oh boy.
No, what are you doing, Winfrey?
You're the anchor show. What do you mean you want to quit?
Look at the numbers. What are you doing? Well, I'm at 150 episodes here on the Source Material Podcast, and I'll tell you what, it's been a blast. And this evening, it's going to be a quick, short one here. And now, as for the whereabouts of one Ronnie Adams, well, let me just say, whatever crap he gets from us tonight, he darn well deserves. You must have. He's busy harumphing to himself. No harumphs.
Like, every fucking week with this guy. I'm tired of it. I'm not coming on the show. Fuck them peoples.
Now I'm sure whatever Ronnie Adams is doing is number one. I know he didn't forget about us because he was reading I think he was reading the series this morning and made a few comments on our chat. So it's not like he didn't forget to read the book. I think he probably just may have forgot we were doing the podcast tonight. Well, that's okay.
Let me give you my overview of this. Who is the Black Panther? Here's what I have to say. Black folks.
Oh, jeez. Oh, where's Ronnie Adams when you need him? Break the knob off.
Break the knob off.
But no, this evening we are discussing a 6-issue series came out in 2005 called Who is the Black Panther? And Mark, I always ask you, I know the answer to this question, but I want you to let our listeners know why this book this week.
Well, there's a Black Panther movie coming out this Friday. It's already tracking to do good business. Probably some of the best business in the Marvel Cinematic Universe outside of the Avengers films. And this was one of those deals where I knew we were going to be covering a Black Panther book, but I was never a huge fan of Black Panther. I never read any of the solo series. If he was part of the Avengers, which I did read, that was fine. But but ultimately I didn't know a tremendous amount about the character, so I didn't know what book to pick up. And I happened to be in the comic book store here in Tampa, and I went through the Black Panther books, and I saw a book that said, "Who is the Black Panther?" And I went, "That's a great question. Maybe we should read this and find out what the answer is." And that's how this book and the show came to be.
Oh, yes. Well, I do want to share, if I can find it real quick, and I want you to bear with me here. If I can pull it up, I doubt I'll be able to find it real easily. I never collected Black Panther. It wasn't a title that I was interested in, but I had the fortune to go to an auction with a good friend of ours, a previous co-host on the show. One, hold on a second now. I'm looking through I'm sorry. I'm distracted. I'm thinking of one thing going through another. Good Stephen Marsh. One good Stephen Marsh, who went to an auction with me in Athens, Ohio, and we got some books that were unbelievable. One of which, Stephen wanted to get some Black Panther issues. So a box that I bought had some Black Panther stuff in there, and I just let him pillage through it and take whatever he wanted because I wasn't interested really too much in the character himself, or there wasn't anything key in there as far as I could tell. Trust me, if it was the first appearance of Black Panther, I'd been all over it. But the storyline, or the books were out of the 70s, and the storyline, give me a second, I'm looking it up here real quick. Black Panther, I want to share this with you because I don't know, you may have seen this before, I don't know. Let me comic. You're going to get a kick out of this, Mark. If I can find it. There it is. All right, so this is Marvel Premiere featuring the Black Panther. Let me save this real quick. And it will go into... you sleep yet? Here we go.
Getting there.
The good thing is I can edit all this stuff out, but here we go. All right, so I want to stop sharing this, and I'm going to share this. This is one of the issues.
Sharing, huh?
This is one of the issues that he was able to pull out of there. There we go. Open this in. I can't do this. I need to pay a person to do this for me. There we go. Kira, get down here.
No, why are you calling Kira? She's probably asleep. Get Caleb.
We would not be able to have a show. All right, here we go.
Fucking holy terror you have for a son. My goodness.
I love the boy, but he is my challenge, the challenge of my life. All right, here you go, Mark. This is the one. This is the, check that out. Marvel premiere featuring Black Panther, number 52.
It took me a minute to realize what that was. Because I saw KL and immediately my mind went to Claw, which is one of his arch enemies.
Yep.
And he, who's also in the movie, was also in Age of Ultron. And then I was like, wait, that's not that says Clan. Oh, look, there's the rebel flag. Oh, good, it's Guy riding a horse.
I think there's a villain in here called the Hate Monger, who his first appearance was actually, I think, right before this issue, if I remember correctly. And Stephen Marsh was trying to complete this story, actually, because he got this one issue and he was trying to get another issue of it. But anyway, yeah, so I saw that laying in there. Black Panther. Now, for those that are listening, this is what the front of it is. We have the Black Panther at last. T'Challa, which is how I'm going to pronounce it tonight, by the way, T silent. T'Challa battles the Klan. And then we have an exclamation mark in the shape of a, I would call that a German S.
It's the Nazi S.
Yep, Nazi S. And we have a red hooded figure on a white horse with a bunch of Klansmen. We got the rebel flag in the background, a high priest of whatever. I have no idea what the titles are or the nomenclature.
He's the fucking Grand Wizard of the KKK.
Thank you.
I love the KKK, bitch. I love it when they fuck me, though. Love the KKK, bitch. Sorry.
In order for us, you got to think about what just happened. In order for us to figure out who that person was, we had to reference a song by a black artist about the KKK. Put that in your stocking.
Fucking a KKK bitch. That's what that song was about, Jesse Starcher. Stop dancing around. You say it the way Ice-T says it. He loves his KKK. Body count, motherfucker.
It's in the house, ladies and gentlemen.
Body
counts in the house. All right, enough shenanigans there. Okay.
Body counts in the house. Body count.
Body count in the house. Body count. So, okay. So this evening we're talking
motherfucking T, bitch. Sorry, go ahead.
2005's 1 through 6. Who is the Black Panther? So this series started in 2005. It actually ran for quite a few issues, but we're just covering the first 6.
41 issues, as a matter of fact. I've been researching.
Nice. Good job. And our writer of these first 6 issues, and maybe most of the series, because I think he went into the 7th issue as well, a guy by the name of Reginald Hudlin, not somebody I know a lot of work from. Then we have pencils, which this guy's been on this podcast quite a few times. Not personally, but we've talked about his work, and that is John Romita Jr. Think back to Daredevil, The Man Without Fear. I
feel like Reginald Hudlin, and I'll research it in a second. But
the dad from Family Matters?
No, I feel like he was like a Hollywood writer.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When I was looking at the description of it, I thought it said Hollywood writer Reginald Hudlin, takes his expertise to Black Panther. So I'll go ahead and
take a look, see what you can find out. I'll kind of break down a few more things here. Our inks, the inks are by a very, very prominent artist, a guy by the name of Klaus Janson. He's been around for quite a while. And I think we may have even talked about a book that he did here as well. So JR and Klaus Janson all on one book. And the tale is being written by Reginald Hudlin. So here we go.
Okay, I got it. Yes.
What you got?
Reginald Hudlin is an American film writer, director, and producer. Along with his older brother, Warrington Hudlin, he is known as one of the Hudlin brothers. And here's some of the things that they've worked on.
Wait a second. You're telling me that he has a brother named, what was it again?
Warrington, sir.
Warrington, and his name is Reginald.
Warrington.
And they're known as
Warrington. They're both black.
They're known as the Hudlin brothers.
The Hudlin brothers.
Okay. All right.
Illinois. He is known for House Party and Django Unchained.
Okay. Wow.
Here's his filmography. He directed and wrote House Party. He directed Reggie's World of Soul. All right, let's move this along.
Are we stopping there?
Yeah. He directed Boomerang.
Okay.
So he's done a lot. He's done a lot of black stuff.
That's a
he
lot of.
was the executive producer for Bebe's Kids. You ever watch Bebe's Kids?
I wish Jason Teasley was on here right now. He would. What was it? He always said it was they. There's a phrase that he used. Yes,
they don't die. They multiply. Bebe's Kids. I saw that in the theaters. What do you call it?
With a dude. Ronnie Adams checking in with us.
He directed the great. You ever see the Great White Hype?
I've heard of that. I had the soundtrack to that. I did not watch the movie.
Go watch the movie. It's awesome. He directed it.
Who was the guy that played the Great White Hype in that? I want to say it was. Oh my gosh.
Oh, some white boy.
Man, okay, that narrows it down. All right, next.
Now I'm looking at the Great White Hype. Welcome to the Tangents Podcast. Directed by Reginald Hudlin.
Yep.
Okay. This has got Samuel L. Jackson, Damon Wayans, and Peter Berg. Peter Berg was the Great White Hype.
Okay. All right. Then I could see his face, but I cannot place that name.
Django Unchained. He was a producer. He's the executive producer of Blazing Samurai, and he's the director of the forthcoming Shadow Man. He's done a bunch of TV specials, a bunch of TV series. Most recent TV series that he worked on.
Just a heads up. Directed. I believe Shadow Man's actually a comic based off of a comic book, Valiant comic book.
Oh, we'll have to cover that. He directed 2 episodes of Psych. He directed 3 episodes of Are We There Yet? He directed an episode of Bones. He directed 3 episodes of Murder in the First, 1 episode of New Girl, 2 episodes of Uncle Buck, and he was the executive producer of something called Blue and Green. He's actually won some awards.
Uncle Buck? Was that a live action series or was that an animated series?
Oh my goodness! There's a Birth of a Nation comic novel.
I don't know. Tell me why you're so excited for that.
You don't know what Birth of a Nation is?
Is that a Public Enemy song?
Okay.
Clearly, I don't.
Oof. Ooh. Oh, Jesse.
Birth of a Nation. Jesse. It sounds so familiar.
Jesse. It really should. And right now, there are learned black people going, these fucking white people.
I came here to learn about the Black Panther.
Birth of a Nation, originally called The Klansman, is a 1950 American silent epic drama film directed and co-produced by D.W. Griffith, starring Lillian Gish. The screenplay is adapted from the novel and play The Klansman, both by Thomas Dixon Jr. and Frankie Woods. The film is 3 hours long and was really presented in 2 parts separated by an intermission. It was the first 12-reel film in the United States. The film chronicles the relationship of 2 families in the American Civil War and Reconstruction era over the course of several years. The pro-Union Northern Stonesmen and the pro-Confederacy Southern Camerons. The assassination of Abraham Lincoln by John Wilkes Booth is dramatized. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that sounds
like this is like wildly racist, if I remember correctly. I gotta find the
Did you say wildly or mildly?
Wildly. The film remains
2 different things. Very different things.
I guess it depends on your point of view, but the film remains controversial due to its interpretation of American history. University of Houston historian Stephen Mintz summarizes its message as follows. Reconstruction was a disaster. Blacks could never be integrated into white society as equals, and the violent actions of the Ku Klux Klan were justified. Not a Public Enemy song there, Jess. To reestablish honest government. The South is portrayed as a victim. The first overt mentioning of the war was a scene in which Abraham Lincoln signs the call for the first 75,000 volunteers, 75,000 volunteers. However, the first aggression in the Civil War made the Confederate troops fired on Fort Sumter in 1861. is not mentioned in the film.
We want to omit that.
Anywho,
wow. Well, you know,
I need to find this graphic novel now. By the way,
who does it say? Who it was written by?
Yeah, it was written by Reginald Hudlin. That's what got this whole thing started.
Okay, all right, fine. I didn't know. I thought this was one of those random things that you find and you just, you're off to the races. And then I don't know how to put the points together. So, okay, now here's the thing. You can cut me some slack on the whole Public Enemy thing because that was the sequel to what you're talking about. It's called Fear of a Black Planet. Thank you very much. Yes. All right, there. I tied it all back.
Very good. So here's some other things that he's worked on. Marvel Knights Spider-Man Volume 4, Wild Blue Yonder. Spider-Man The Other. Black Panther The Bride. Okay, so basically this whole run on Black Panther.
Okay. Oh, wow. So
41 issues.
Wow, so he had this whole thing. That's 2 years worth of comic books at least. 24, maybe even
looks like most of what he looks like most of what he did was Black Panther.
Okay. All right, well there's
and now this Birth of a Nation comic novel that I'm obsessed with.
Amazon it real quick. See if it's on there. I'm curious.
I'm going to.
Okay.
You didn't have to tell me.
Do it now. I want to know. Ronnie Adams has joined us of the Screaming Boy podcast, of the Sleeping Boy podcast.
When did that turn into Papa? That's
Ronnie Adams.
So, Ronnie, you just missed us discussing
the schedule.
No, we did.
I found it.
Okay, tell me what do we got? What are we looking at? Is it out of print or is it something you can pick up?
No, we can get it.
Are you actually? Do you think you'd like? Well, if it's written, it's written by a black man, but it is a story about. It was originally a story
hilarious
about
political satire produced from a collaboration of 3 of our funniest humorists answering the burning question: would anyone care if East St. Louis seceded from the Union?
Oh, Lord.
Okay, so that's what this is.
That's totally different.
Not the same.
That sounds like a winner.
East St. Louis, Illinois is an impoverished town so poor that Fred Fredrickson, its idealistic mayor, starts off election day by collecting the city's trash in his own minivan.
Yeah, that's a different. Mark was hoping for a very, let's just say, controversial comic, and it doesn't sound like what we're going to be getting there.
No, that's not what that is.
That is not it. Well, Ronnie, we're glad you made it to the podcast, buddy.
I am
definitely glad. We just broke down the creative team. The creative team that we're talking about, Reginald. I showed them the cover to that 70s Black Panther issue where it had that Stephen Marsh picked up at that auction, where it had Black Panther on the front attacking a Klan, and the Ku Klux Klan's all in the background. So, okay, well, here's what we're going to do. This one is going to be
a Birth of a Nation, the comic book.
I don't know about that one. I don't know if I'm qualified, nor am I willing to participate in that. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to give a quick synopsis of what this book is. We're not going to jump into too many details. It's only 6 issues, real quick overview, and then we're going to jump into some talking points, see what you guys think. If you guys have something to talk about, we'll bring it up. We'll talk about it. There's not a whole lot here, just to give everybody a heads up. What, Mark?
I would like to talk about Birth of a Nation.
No.
You clearly would.
No.
I think we've talked about it enough, and we're moving on to discuss the topic at hand. All right. So here we go. Black Panther 1 through 6. Who is the Black Panther? Wakanda. For centuries, a peaceful African nation far advanced compared to others of the world. Unfortunately, the nation of Wakanda has had a target on its back for quite some time, as it is also home of the ultra-rare metal vibranium. Coveting Wakanda's resources, many nations throughout history have tried to invade and failed. The Wakandans are led by a king carrying the name of the Black Panther. But who is the Black Panther? Our most recent king goes by the name of T'Challa, an intelligent, spry Wakandan who bested his uncle to take over the throne and also bears the mask of Black Panther as well. Now, the king and protector of a nation, the Black Panther must deal with threats of the criminal and political from outside of his realm. Recently, the United States has become concerned that the new regime change may also mark a change in the policies of the Wakandan nation and has sparked unfounded fears of a technologically superior army that may become an invading force. Not to mention a supervillain from T'Challa's past by the name of Claw, which, if you guys aren't familiar with who Claw is, I've seen him really the one time that I can remember seeing Claw. And I should say the first time I remember ever seeing Claw was actually the Avengers video game. Ronnie Adams, you ever play that?
Yes.
The four-player Avengers arcade cabinet.
Is that the one where it's just like, why should it go well and all that shit?
It's been a while since I played it, dude. I cannot remember.
Huh.
It's been a while.
I remember playing. I feel like I remember playing that game. And and you would hear the characters talk, and like one of the lines was like, we're gonna get you. It's like, why would it go well? And it's like, this is the dorkiest thing I've ever heard.
Here's what's going to happen. Post edit, I'm definitely finding an audio clip of the game and putting it in here because I want to know.
I'm on it. Avengers 90s video game. Got it.
It would, yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I remember Claw was either the first level boss or the second level boss, or maybe have been because I remember the Reaper as well was one of the villains, and he ends up showing up either at the first or second level, or it might have been the Claw and the Reaper attacking it at the same time. But anyway, Claw was definitely different from what we see in this iteration here in 2005, in this 2005 series. The Claw from the video game was like this, almost looked kind of like an android. Wasn't he like human sound or something? See, I did not do any research on who he was, but I remember he's like, he loses his arm. He's got like this, I almost want to say it's a hand that's like this shoots sound out of it. And now here's the thing again, I'm getting all these memories from comics that I've read. Was Claw in Secret Wars as well, Ronnie, in Secret Wars 1 through 12, like from the 80s?
Yes.
Because I'm starting to think he was part of the villains that went up to Battle World.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay.
I remember. Yeah.
So this iteration of Claw though looks very human. He still has this like crazy arm, but it can be manipulated into way like different shapes and to do different things. I
always remembered him just, what was it, manipulating sound with it?
Yeah, it was like it would almost look like a damn satellite dish on his hand instead of a hand. It was like a satellite dish that he pointed in it and whatever. So
his big evil move is picking up illegal cable.
Yeah. Dreaded by many. Enemy of the Avengers.
That's it. I found it. Okay. So so you're absolutely right. He's fighting the living laser and Claw. And let me go back a second. So this masterful dialogue goes like this.
Oh boy.
Right? Okay, hang on. Captain America's approaching the bank, and here comes the broken wall, and there's Whirlwind. He's got a bag full of money, and I know that because it's got a dollar sign on it. And it says, "Don't disturb us." And Captain America says, "Why should it go well?"
Wait a second. What kind of... That doesn't make a damn bit of sense. Why should it go well?
Well, the bad guys are robbing a bank, and he was like, "Why should that go well?" Makes perfect sense.
No, it makes no sense. There's no way you're going to say
Mark,
that.
You're not arguing through this one.
No, it makes
Mark,
perfect...
no.
No, don't tell me no.
Mark.
Why should it go well?
Why wouldn't you say like just stop right there?
Mark,
or
why should anyone talk like that?
We're getting
because it's a 90s Avengers game.
Oh, Mark Radlich sent the video. I cannot wait to view this.
Can we review the video on here instead of the comic book?
33 minutes. Is it full playthrough? It can't. It might be.
It's full playthrough.
Oh, wow. Captain America Data East. When did this come out? 91. Oh, dude. I, honest to goodness, would love to see your watch this and comment on it.
We might need to do a special bonus what do you call it, commentary
episode on the arcade.
We might need to do a commentary episode.
When I was a kid, I mean, going to the arcade was a fun thing, but I was stingy with my quarters. I wanted to get all around the arcade with as many quarters as I had, so I didn't keep pumping them into a game. So I can probably remember the first level clear as a bell, but as soon as you get past like the second level or something, I'm just like, well, okay, that's probably the point in which I was like, oh, hey, look over there, there's Dragon's Lair, time to go to Dragon's Lair.
And you didn't, because you didn't want to waste your quarters on it.
Dude, they would eat right through it. And the 4-player, I think the 4-player cabinet was at the 7-Eleven by my grandma's. And I would go down there to the 7-Eleven. Comics were right behind me on the rack. And so I just kind of browse through the comics, turn around, play some games. Also play Time Killers. But anyway, okay, I'm done talking about that. It's a video game tangent.
I just want to say that you said you didn't want to waste your quarters, yet you played Dragon's Lair.
Dude, you could kind of get good at that. Or
no one was good at Dragon's Lair.
If you knew what
you really had, like, the game had to be like super tight, and you had to have like the fucking impulses of a ninja.
All right.
So no one was good at Dragon's Lair. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
I certainly will not argue.
But but here's the thing: I will not argue that that anyone was good at Dragon's Lair. Me and Ronnie are right on with that. However, I will tell you that you would absolutely say to somebody, "Why should it go well?"
No. Moving on.
No one would. No.
Why should it go well?
Why should it go?
It has nothing to do with what tell us. What did the villain say at first? The villain comes out of there.
Don't disturb us.
Don't disturb us. Don't disturb us.
We're taking a nap.
Quietly robbing a bank. Don't disturb us. And Captain America says, "Why should it go well? Why should it go well?" I'm now going to that. I'm really trying to not derail this podcast, but I'm telling you right now, if you ask me any questions, I'm going to answer you. Why should it go well?
Don't make me get the air horn.
Come on.
Don't make me get the air horn.
Striking fear in the hearts of men. Why should it go well? Well,
so Mark, what do you think? What do you think of Claw's attack on Wakanda? Why should it go well?
It does not. Does not go very well. Spoiler alert. All right, so here we go. Yes, okay. We talked about Claw and how he looks a little bit different nowadays.
And it doesn't go well for him.
Oh my gosh.
It's over. Mark's giggling.
Now
I'm still watching this playthrough.
Turn that off. You will be
you heard it off with starch.
Turn it off.
I'm sorry.
Put you to bed. You don't listen to me.
That was rough. Jesse. Turn it off.
Turn it off, asshole.
I'm so sorry.
So this super villain from Chala's past by the name of Claw has also put in place a plan to get revenge against Chala's family. Why would the Claw want to do this? Well, Claw's shut up.
Why should it go well?
It doesn't go well the first time. It's time to get revenge. I honestly wish that Mark was completely off and it didn't say that. Instead, the confirmation that Captain America actually did say that has ruined this podcast. It has ruined it.
I'm crying.
I'm gonna pass
out. All right. Bring it back.
I need air. Go ahead. Please continue.
So
Mark's gonna run outside with no shirt and pants on, headphones on.
All right,
Margaret, that Radulich man's at it again.
They look at you. What is wrong, son? Why should it go well? All right.
Excuse me.
Why?
Sir, you have to. If you couldn't walk around your neighborhood, you have to wear clothes. Why should it go well?
All right. Why would the Claw want to do this? Claw's reason is the reason. I already know what the hashtag is going to be. Here when I'm editing the episode. Claw's great grandfather was one of those that died in a failed invasion of the Wakandan nation. His last sight before the minigun backfiring and exploding in his face was the Black Panther of that era.
Can I just interject something?
Yeah.
The language that is used in that whole sequence.
That's a sign of the times, dude. They were trying to get. Now here's the thing.
Yes. Most famously seen in Birth of a Nation.
Oh Lord!
Well,
now there's no just to tell the if you've not read this, there's no cursing in it. It's just a lot of racial slurs.
Now, Ronnie, I know you were a little late to the party, but we were talking about the writer here, and I don't know if you've ever heard of Reginald Hudlin, but he has actually written a lot. He's an African American himself, and he's wrote a lot of. He wrote this whole run of Black Panther, we found out, and he wrote a bunch of film that's centered around like Great White Hype, which House Party.
Really, of all the stuff that I read, that's the one you came up with.
Django Unchained. How's that?
There you go.
Oh, he wrote Django?
Yeah.
No, he didn't.
Well,
the comic book, maybe.
Maybe.
No, hang on. I'll find it.
Wiki.
I thought Tarantino wrote Django Unchained.
He directed it. Django Unchained. Written by. Hang on. It was produced by Reginald Hudlin. It was written by Quentin Tarantino.
Okay.
Boom.
So
I know my Tarantino.
So he is that. Even though the language is being used here, clearly he is using it to represent, what was being said at the time of these people.
Yeah. It's just something I've never really seen in a comic book before.
Yeah, a Marvel comic book at that. It's something we're not used to, which, okay. But anyway, yeah. So with the death of his grandfather, that's on the back of Claw's mind as well. This led to Claw becoming part of an assassination attempt to kill the king of Wakanda. Trying to kill the whole Black Panther lineage at that time as well, Claw was somewhat successful as it resulted in him killing T'Challa's father. But it also left Claw scarred and without a right arm. Now he has a new plan that involves the likes of the Rhino, Radioactive Man, Cannibal, the Black Knight, and other enemies of the Wakandan nation. The Black Panther must now strive to save his family from being killed, while at the same time inspire the warriors of his nation to stop a potentially invading U.S. cyborg force. So there you go. That is, in a nutshell, what happens in the 6 issues that we read tonight. So, I threw out a bunch of talking points, and I guess the first thing we'll, throw out there and talk about was, Ronnie, you read all 6 issues. Was there anything in here you learned about T'Challa the Black Panther?
I'm noticing that you're calling him T'Challa.
T silent. The T, I believe, is silent, sir.
Wasn't in the movies.
And here's the thing. It wasn't?
No.
Okay.
That's what's confusing me right now.
Okay. Well, then I could be completely off. I seriously remember a big discussion on a podcast centering around the history of the Black Panther as to how to pronounce his name. And what I went with, if I remember correctly, and I probably should have referenced. What did they call him in the movie? Was it T'Challa?
Yeah.
So it wasn't Tala. It wasn't like the CH was silent or anything. So they pronounced all the consonants and syllables that were there. Syllables, vowels, consonants and vowels. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I will, to make it easier for Ronnie, I will call him T'Challa from here on out.
Well, let's figure this out.
No, I do not want to sit here and try and
completely ignore this. I mean, I'm not trying to, I wasn't, I wasn't trying to call you out or anything. I was. Just,
I hear you, dude. That's not a problem.
Yeah, I was just wondering
as to why I was leaving it out.
Yeah, I was just wondering, because it's probably been highly debated for a long time of how to pronounce it because, Marvel likes their crazy names and or they're repeating letters, like Peter Parker, Reed Richards.
Yeah.
All that. But
Bruce Banner.
Yeah, I'm not going to name them all because that would be every character ever that they've done. J. Jonah Jameson.
Here we go. All right, I'm hopping to CBR.com right now. All right, so we'll settle this right now. We'll call CBR the Bible for the answer giver for what we need here to figure out how he pronounces it. How's that? Okay. In every installment of If I Pass This Way Again, we look at odd comic. Okay, blah 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 blah. I don't need the whole preface. Okay. Okay, here we go. They put out a panel here. Well, see, I'm going to have to read this panel.
Speaking of derailing the podcast, I do apologize because I think I've done that.
Well, that's okay. I want to know the answer because honestly, dude, the listeners of this podcast would probably like to know a definitive answer as to how to pronounce it.
You deserve the truth.
So, you know what? Talking point number 1. How the fuck do you say his name? If there's anything we learned from the Black Panther.
I'm going to Google it. How do you pronounce?
Well, you're going to be at the same CBR article that I am. Okay.
Being long-winded and does everything but get to the point.
So there's a panel. I'm going to share this with you real quick. There's a panel here. Stop sharing this. Go over here and share this. And go back. And present to everyone. Okay. All right. So if you guys look at these sets of panels, they will find a glade there. This is Black Panther talking to a guy.
It's T'Challa.
Okay. You're absolutely certain.
Yeah.
All right. And can you reference? Can you give us a source, sir?
Yes. comicvine.gamespot.com. Forums. How do you pronounce his name?
All right.
I like that Jesse went through all the trouble of sharing something, and then Mark just goes, "Nope, I got it."
Of course, you might have noticed it makes absolutely zero sense for Panther to say T'Challa and the other guy to say T'Challa. Only for the Panther to say that you don't pronounce the T, since the guy wouldn't have said T'Challa if Panther just said Chala. No one mishears another person that poorly. Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't hear T's well.
You know what this reminds me of?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it reminded me of that too.
You're gonna have to edit that out. I
brought back a flood of memories.
Man. I am just
I was laughing so hard I killed brain cells from lack of oxygen.
Almost suffocated. Okay, well, the answer is we're going with T'Challa. Mark says, Comic Vine says T'Challa. I'm not going to argue that. T'Challa it is. Ronnie Adams, there's the first answer to our first talking point. Now, what did you learn about the Black Panther out of this series?
I was never really familiar with the Black Panther, like his origins, his background, and stuff like that. So it was really cool to see that, like the title has been passed down for ages, and it was more of a spiritual, I guess religious thing, and than it was anything else. So I'm very, my knowledge of Black Panther is limited to say the least, or
Yeah.
it was. So it was really cool to be able to see his background in this. So I learned a lot more about Black Panther than I used to know.
Mark, did you know that it was a title that was passed down amongst many prior to reading this?
No, I'll be honest, without making any further jokes.
Try your best.
Why should it go well?
But why? I was getting ready to say
that. To me, he was. I mean, it was one of these characters who I think they created in the 60s or 70s or whatever, and it was fine. It worked fine for the comic books, and then they realized it was a silly character, and they had to kind of reinvent him a bunch of different ways. But like to me, like the outfit was basically just a guy in a black leotard and a kitty mask, and then suddenly his suit's made out of vibranium and all this other crap. So, I went into this sort of like, okay, I don't know anything about this character other than he's black and he's from Africa and he rules over a mythical, highly technologically advanced country, and I'll just kind of accept the rest of whatever I learn here as read and just move on from there. I really liked the beginning of this. I liked the origin of Wakanda.
Mm-hmm.
It had always been sort of ahead of everybody else, and and I like the idea of it's to me the most unbelievable thing about Wakanda is that it's like China in the sense that there's no contact with the outside world. It's completely insulated, and it's despite the fact that goes against the trend of societies, it becomes highly technologically advanced to the point where it becomes like the envy of the rest of the world. Again, China is somewhat similar to that story. That while it's had some contact with the East, with the other East Asian countries, Japan being one of the big ones. China developed pretty much independently of the rest of the world, and it had advances that that the West is still trying to figure out, like acupuncture being an example. So I like that aspect of Wakanda and the whole origin of the Black Panther.
Yeah, do you actually think that there's any way that something like this could actually be out there in the world right now? There's no way, right? I mean, we've discovered everything that we could discover. There's no technologically superior nation that we are unaware of, right, Ronnie?
Yeah, the age of exploration pretty much wiped out any chance that there's a third world,
Thank
third
you, Ronnie.
world. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Mark. I'm being silly.
There's no possible way there's any third world aspect of the world left that's been untouched by white man's hands. It's just not possible.
I'd say it is possible.
The world's not that big. You're wrong. The world's not that big.
Wow, you're a jerk. Do you know?
Yeah.
And do you know
you've been to everywhere in the world?
Yes.
Oh, well.
You've been fed lies, Mark Radulich. Lies, I tell you. You only know what we've shown you, sir. You have no idea about. Go ahead.
This is not the Matrix.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right. I can't. I think I'm clearly that's. I mean, I honestly don't think that there's a possibility of anything like this ever being out there, which makes it that much more fantastical and appropriate for a comic book. But I'm sure at some point there may be imagine if China is not, I don't believe, far technologically superior to us, but we don't know what's inside there, right? I mean, it's not like we have
China.
What's that?
We don't know what's inside China.
Well, no, what I mean is it China that's kind of closed off to the rest of the world right now, or North Korea?
They're not closed off to the rest of the world.
Yeah. Again, my geography and politics are never a good thing to discuss on this podcast.
China is one of the nuclear superpowers of the world. They're anything but closed off.
Okay, all right then. And everything's made in China. I don't know. It just seems like there could be a possibility that there might be something like that. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe somewhere that we've never. There are still lands that we haven't discovered or been to that are completely closed off to the world.
Maybe underneath the ocean,
small nations.
Like
and so,
I was gonna anything above ground has been discovered from on this planet, but I mean, as far as who knows, there are depths of the oceans that we haven't been to because of the pressure. Maybe you might discover something, but
now who's wrong?
Huh?
What?
What'd you say?
I said, let's continue on.
Okay, that's a goofy question. All right, let's talk about the characters in this story. Claw, Mark, at the risk of what I'm about to ask you and the answer that I think you're going to bring up.
Why should it go well?
I'll be good.
Have you ever read anything with Claw in it?
Probably some Avengers tale back in the day.
West Coast, probably. I know you said you liked the West Coast Avengers, didn't you?
I did. I read the entire run of the West Coast Avengers.
Okay, so this character that they bring here that they're calling Claw, who I assume is the actual Claw, but is this the guy that you remember at all or have ever seen before?
The way he's drawn here is a little bit more realistic looking. The version of Claw. This is why I remember, like, when he was in Age of Ultron, and it's Andy Serkis. I was like, they really modernized him, because the version of Claw that I remember from like the Secret Wars and everything was the guy in the red jumpsuit with the android face.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ronnie, I mean, you have any commentary about this version of Claw that we have here?
Other than him being, a random bad guy number 2 on a team that, I don't remember anything about the Claw, reading anything about with him as a main character.
Mm-hmm. Well, what'd you think about his history with the Black Panther, Mark? I'll swing it over, Mark. You got it next, Ronnie.
Okay.
Mark, what do you think about his history of the Black Panther? I mean, was it believable?
Yeah. I'm trying to think about what I remember from this part of the book. Yeah, I thought. I think I've always known that he was one of like the major like arch enemies of the Black Panther. I thought he worked well as that enemy.
Ronnie?
Yeah, I thought bringing in past the family problems between the two.
Yeah,
I thought it was very well done. I thought it was a good he was a good enemy for Black Panther, and I thought it worked out. I thought it worked out very well.
Yeah, there was some assumptions that I think the writer made that I wasn't aware too much of the continuity or the history between these two. Mm-hmm. So I have no idea if they've come together in the past and fought each other, or if. I mean, just from what I saw in the movie, you would think, okay, well, he's been involved. Claw's been involved in the nation of Wakanda, or doing something against Wakanda for quite a while. What was that? It was Age of Ultron. That was what it was from, you said?
Yeah. He was branded a thief in the nation of Wakanda.
Yeah. So, I didn't know much about his history at all, but I think it kind of gave him some purpose. However, I mean, spoiler, ladies and gentlemen, spoiler alert. Let me enunciate a little bit better there. He meets his end, at least we assume, at the end of this book. So by the hands of the Black Panther. Guess what, Mark Radulich? The Claw died. Can you guess what? Can you guess what happened?
It didn't go well.
It didn't go well. I set him up for it and everything.
I don't know, Mark. Are you there?
Mark,
I'm here.
Okay. You should have jumped all over that one.
I'm not your monkey.
Oh my goodness.
I'm not going to just dance for you because you played a little jingle jangle on your
Listen,
box.
you're going to get your cymbals, and we're going to wind you up and watch you clap.
Jingle jangle. All right, so let's talk about Ronnie Adams. Tell me about the Black Knight. You know much about him at all?
I knew him as a member of the Avengers.
Same here.
I didn't know him as a religious wackadoodle who went around killing people.
I'm gonna hop on. I'm just gonna hop on the wiki here and check this out.
In defense of the Black Knight, the setup of this whole comic is that we live in a world where unknown threats need to be known, quantifiable entities. And the United States was in a position where they didn't know if Wakanda was going to be an ally of the United States or an enemy. And the Black Knight was part of it, was a hero of Britain who was an ally of the United States. This was a mission to see, if Wakanda was going to play ball with the United States or not. And he was just doing essentially his civic duty. As far as being portrayed as religious, I mean, that's to me, it was neither here nor there here. This was more about the Black Knights just playing on the team that he's playing on, which happened to be in opposition to Wakanda. Not that he was a bad guy in this. So yeah, I didn't get the sense that the Black Knight was a villain necessarily.
I want to ask a question because I've read this twice and I didn't pick up on it the second time. Granted, I browsed through it, but was Claus and that whole team, was that sponsored by the United States, or was that a plan that Claw put into place to try and get at his family?
I was under the impression it was a team. It was like a Black Ops team sent in by the United States, kind of like a Suicide Squad.
But they also sent in the cyborg zombie guys at the end. And Ronnie, correct me if I'm wrong, and if it's fresh in your memory, great. If not, don't worry about it. But I thought it was like the Black Knight, or not Black Knight, excuse me, the Claw and his team, Rhino and all them, were kind of working on their own to get in there, just at the same time that the United States was trying to do that. But maybe I misread it, or maybe it was
that's what I gleaned from it too.
Maybe, and it could very well have been. Do you have the physical copy in front of you, Mark Radlich?
And the fiscal.
And the fiscal copy.
Huh.
Well, I'm not going to ask you to search through it because I remember specifically he's talking to, who was it? Claw. I keep forgetting his name for some reason. Claw was talking to some guy in a cell, explaining to him what was going on near at the beginning, just telling him kind of like the history of Wakanda. And I don't even know if I can remember who that guy was. That's kind of how this whole series is. I just to kind of put it bluntly and give you like my summarization and my thoughts on the whole thing itself. We'll come back around to that here at the end, but this was something that was, some of it was easy to follow, and some of it I got a little bit bogged down amongst the too many word balloons, too much of that going on. Yeah, who was working for who? I didn't understand that.
Okay, I was in the impression they were a Black Ops team sent in by the United States.
Okay, and you probably read it a lot closer than I did. I mean, I'd made it through the 6 issues. I just don't recall that for some reason. I was trying to figure out a way to tie the two together. I was like, okay, well, because the United States was like, okay, we're gonna send the zombie team in on the borders, and maybe they did that to get him in there, and then of course, Claw, took it upon himself. It's time to get revenge as well. I don't know, but either way, it was money enough for me to come out of here going, okay, I don't know the specific motivations behind the two, other than it was just Claw wanting to get revenge, and the United States trying to further their political.
I'm going to read this to you. This is, I think, issue 2.
Awesome.
So what we've got here is a highly militaristic culture with no ties to the United States. They're a rogue state. All right. Before you go adding them to the axis of evil, I should point out that they have never invaded anyone. The only time they've taken hostile action is defending their own borders. But a regime change could bring about a change in that policy. Look, I don't want to jump the gun here, but it's standard operating procedure to have a military option in place for any potential threat to the United States. I certainly don't want to speak in the place of the recently departed general, but with our military forces stretched all over the Middle East, do we even have the resources? You're right, Mr. Ross. That is not your area of expertise. You just keep providing accurate information. Besides, this conflict would not be appropriate for conventional forces. This is a job for special forces, very special forces. And the next panel is Claw and the other guy who ends up taking over the prostitute's body.
Okay.
Which was weird.
Oh, yeah. That was a strange one.
Because she probably has like the Hep C, right?
She gets the Hep everything.
It gets a little weird with the cannibal. And I think that was definitely a long play that was going past these 6 issues. Because the cannibal's whole arc, which, ladies and gentlemen, here's what the cannibal does. The cannibal is pretty much just this force that resides in your body, and then through physical contact or a kiss, I think, in some way, fiscal monetary exchange occurs. And then the next thing you know, you're taken over by the cannibal. Go ahead.
You're toast.
Hey man, let me hold $1. Oh, I got you.
You're a lightly buttered toast.
So yes, yeah, that's what's weird about the cannibal. But anyway, it was like the cannibal was helping out the Claw, and then the next thing you know, the cannibal's on a plane with one of the representatives of Wakanda, which maybe, like I said, again, I think that's the long game here that goes past issue 6, because she ends up taking over the body of one of the Wakandan representatives. And then that's kind of where we leave that at the end of the issue. But anyway, okay. So, Mark, you just pretty much confirmed that they were working for the United States, right?
That is my belief, yes.
Okay. All right. So there we go. Let me take a look here and see what our next what I had next. Yeah, the Black Knight. Let me just give a real quick wiki description here. Did I lose it? I don't think I did. Dane Whitman.
Yeah.
Yeah, normally known as a hero, he was, let's see, affiliation, Euroforce, MI13, Avengers, Masters of Evil as a mole, Excalibur. That's the one I remember him from mostly, is Excalibur. Heroes for Hire, Ultra Force. Yeah, that's Malibu's Ultra Force, by the way. Defenders, Knights of Wundagore, King Richard's Army, New Avalon. So, yeah, he's been mostly known as a hero here. A guy that was kind of duped into helping these guys invade Wakanda. Mark, was he duped? I mean, again, I think he was just doing his duty. I think this is just a somewhat more complex tale than good guys versus bad guys. I kind of think that's been Marvel's MO over the last few years. Why do you think that he was so eager to help out again? Why would you say that he would do that?
I think he felt like he was doing a job, and that the world is not as black and white as, Superman.
Like doing a paycheck? Are you saying there's a paycheck involved when you say job? Or are you talking about like?
Yeah, no, okay. Absolutely.
Okay. Wasn't there mention in there in the book about how he was like, he talked about bringing religion to the savages? Which kind of felt like
he was a religious wackadoodle.
Yeah, I mean, it did kind of feel like that. I mean, he has his beliefs. Maybe he has.
Well, isn't that what people who missionaries do? They bring
not with
religion
a giant sword. I mean, I'm sure they did in the past, but
yeah. As part
I realize that modern missionaries do not attack people with swords.
Okay.
Have you heard the good word? Shing.
Let me introduce you to my singing sword. Ah!
Right.
I wonder if you have a few moments to talk about your shing. But yeah, it seemed like he was. I mean, there was. I don't know. I didn't get the.
I don't know about you guys, but the not the Jehovah's Witnesses, but the let's go with it.
What are they called? Hold on now. I think I know where you're going. Are you going with Mormons?
No, not Mormons.
Okay.
But not
Davidians? The Branch Davidians.
Not the
not the Baptists. I don't know where you're going.
Maybe it was maybe let me call my dad because he used to invite him in the house. Might be the Jehovah's Witnesses. Let's go with that.
The ones that go door to door are Jehovah's Witnesses or Mormons.
Mm-hmm.
It would be the Jehovah's Witnesses.
Church of Latter-day Saints.
It would be the Jehovah's Witnesses that I'm trying to make a joke out of. But the Jehovah's Witnesses in my neighborhood.
Guess what, Mark? That did not go well.
Wah, wah, wah.
Wouldn't have a Bible in one hand and a sword in the other. It's true. That's how my dad let him in the first time.
Oh, you must be awful
Thanksgiving
tired.
I'll never forget.
Carrying that sword around. All right. Okay. So yeah, the Black Knight, as heroic as he is, I didn't get.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Do you ever get feedback on the show, Jesse, that since I've showed up, this show has gotten progressively sillier?
No, I have not. I have not got any feedback like that. But I don't know if we've reached that limit yet, to where people are like, "Okay, I'm about sick of this shit."
Remember when they just used to talk about? Remember the 8-hour podcast on the long Halloween? Remember those days?
Oh my gosh, dude! Fucking broke into 2 parts, 3 hours apiece. Oh my!
Supposed to be
Gee,
a 1 hour show.
Ridiculous. All right, so okay, let's move
Clear
on.
your weekend. We're listening to the long Halloween.
I don't know if I even edited
Not
that.
again,
If I
Patty.
edited that, I had to have wanted to pluck my own eyes out. Okay. Well, we already kind of talked. I kind of gave you my thoughts on the cannibal. We talked about the Black Knight, talked about Claw. Mark talked about Wakanda. What we've learned about T'Challa and the Black Panther. Ronnie, I mean, you got anything you'd like to bring up about the series itself, the 6 issues that you read?
As a whole, I found it a little confusing at times.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good read. It really was. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the art, of course.
On a scale of confusing, with wacky Raceland at the top, and
and it did not go well in the middle.
and Tarzan on the Planet of the Apes at the bottom. Where would you rank this?
Why should it go well?
I rank this. Stop stealing my jokes. Okay, both of those sucked. So this did not suck.
Yeah, I was going to say this wasn't horrible. This wasn't something where I was like, ugh.
I enjoyed the background on the history of Wakanda and the history of the Black Panther, as a title, as the defender of his nation. And, the Black Panther is the king of Wakanda. It was really interesting.
What did you think of? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just. It's interesting to see that it's a title that's interchangeable between the royal family. You just fought to get it.
That was the thing I was going to bring up. The one aspect of Wakanda that we didn't talk about was how do you ascend to leadership? But essentially, like someone challenges you to a fist fight, and if you lose, then that person becomes new leader of the country. It's like like the guy that just won our presidential election was a cartoon character. And if we had, and if we went by these rules, John Jones, the former light heavyweight champion and cocaine addict, would have become the president of the United States. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, it's an interesting idea. I don't know. Did you?
Well, it's you say the presidential election. Ours is done by vote, and you can get
In
into the whole
theory.
debate, but
You can get into whole debates. He was that close to saying it.
you can get into the whole debate about the voting system,
And it won't go well.
It
Why
does
should
not
it
go well.
Why should it
go
go well?
Especially when Mark Radulich is
On the other end of the table,
roaming to and fro like a lion. Just compared you. I didn't mean to, but I used the scripture where it says, "And the devil roams about like a lion."
Oh, nice! Oh, nice!
I just called you the devil. I'm so sorry.
Thanks, Ronnie. I know what you're using for me.
Oh, shoot!
But anyway, you can no, but that's based on some kind of political platform. People, go up, they tell you what they believe in, and the people choose who to vote for. This one, Cousin Derp could just get off a lucky, left hook and win complete control of the country.
Did you call him Cousin Derp?
Yeah. Well, I mean, come on.
So Bofo with the protruding forehead,
right? He can then be like, "Well, it's you got to let him fight, otherwise he's going to cry."
JoJo
so
the Monkey Boy
like,
challenges you for president.
Hug him and love him and call him George, and squeeze the guy in a bear hug, and he has no other choice but to give up because he's going to die, and he could be king of a whole country, and then you're kind of screwed. But there's no, it doesn't make sense to us. But of course, it's a comic book. But in the long run, that's how they chose their king.
Why should comic books make sense?
I'm trying to make sense of comic books, and why should it go well? But you saw where T'Challa's little sister was going to
she was going to jump
in the ring. Yeah, she wanted to rule Wakanda. So it was interesting seeing that whole thing come to light, and the history behind it, how they chose their leadership, the history behind the Black Panther as a as a title, as a character, how T'Chaka was the leader, and he was killed, by the Claw's Ulysses Claw's family member. I can't remember. Is it great grandfather or great grandfather or grandfather or something?
Hold on. Or you say it again? Because I don't think he was killed by him.
Not killed by him, but he killed.
Yeah, he killed the grandfather.
He killed him. Sorry.
Yeah, it's all right.
That's where I was going with that.
I figured.
But it got a little muddy. It got a little confusing for me. But I was still able to keep with the basic storyline of the kind of introducing who Black Panther was, and or is, I should say. So I enjoyed it. It was just parts of it I hate to admit, but I kind of skimmed over because it was like I'm not really into this part. So a little wordy at times.
Yeah, man, it did. It got a little wordy. I mean, there were some great parts where you let John Romita Jr. and Klaus Janson take over and tell the story, especially during the fight scene, which was great. And I was hoping like the rest of the book might have some shades that it's peppered in there, but it's Reginald unfortunately takes it to can take it to a wordy level.
Yeah. Now, I have a question for you all. Did anybody else's? Well, not really. I mean, but I felt it come up a little bit. But did anybody else's feathers get a little ruffled when it said he beat Captain America? And I was like, I don't remember that.
Oh no, I think You know what's funny is before reading this series, there was something either popped up on my Facebook feed or it popped up just because it was asked, like because I was doing some research or something. But one of the questions was, could the Black Panther beat Captain America? And I was like,
are you guys
why is this a discussion? You know, and I was
are you guys saying that Black Panther can't beat Captain America because it's black?
I knew you were going to say that.
Negative. I didn't have an issue with it. I think that was. I mean,
all your friends are black.
Yeah, that's exactly why. As a matter of fact, I certainly would not.
Mark.
No,
Mark.
It's a good way. I think it's a great way of putting over Black Panther.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It
didn't ruffle my feathers at all. How's that?
No,
there's my answer.
It didn't. The only reason it is because I'm a huge Captain America fan.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he's supposed to be like the fighter of the Marvel universe. And I'm like, I don't remember that ever happening. Did you make that up for the storyline? That's what I was getting at.
I got you.
Was this made up for just for this story, or I don't remember that in canon?
Was that history? Let me look. I'm curious now because has Captain America.
But
we've gone to the internet like a record amount of times this podcast.
Black Panther throws Captain America a vicious beating. Black Panther beats Captain America like a rented mule.
Oh my gosh!
Black Panther.
Okay, so the first thing that comes up in the video that says Black Panther whoops Captain America's butt.
Okay.
And it was probably taken out of Civil War.
Oh. Yeah, whoops. WHUPS. Whoops Captain America's butt. I'm looking just to see if there has been any times that it's been mentioned. Oh boy, here we got Mr. Actually, Panther wins 9 out of 10 times. Because here's the 9 paragraphs this guy provided: strength, speed, durability, skill.
I'm already bored.
Yep.
Right.
All right. But no, I think it was a good way of putting them over, in my opinion. I mean, this is this is an advanced nation. I think that, Captain America showed up, and he wasn't trying to invade or anything. I think when
he was hunting Nazis.
Yeah, he was going after Nazis that were already killed. Oh, yes, indeed. It's almost
all right. Starcher. Showed you're already tired of it.
Man, I like I said, I spent too much time playing video games last night.
We also waited forever for you to show up tonight.
Yeah, Ronnie Adams.
I fell asleep.
I didn't get to take a nap before the podcast. Maybe that's why I'm on it.
Podcast. Hey, listen, I only take a 45-minute nap.
Is that it?
Because
I
figured
we were ready to go at 9 o'clock.
Wow.
There was no scheduling tonight, and
Mark
we had to wait for
Radulich,
you.
when's the last time you fucking took a nap? Huh? Yeah, that's right.
When I was in VPK.
Shout out to when we weren't recording. So anyway,
I was gonna say, when's the last time we took a nap? Was probably Metal Hammer of Doom.
Ooh, good one. Good one.
Shots fired.
He falls asleep on podcasts, everybody. Okay.
Very, very true.
Sorry.
I won't deny it.
I'm so sorry.
I'm a straight napper. You don't want to fuck with me. All right.
Okay. In one of the earliest episodes of the Black Panther saga, Captain America was served a generous helping of humble pie when he went to Wakanda, the only source of vibranium in the world, which is the material Captain America's shield is made of. Acting very American, he was sent back to America after he regained his consciousness.
Oh, nice. What was that from? Was that from this book?
This is from Quora.com, who would win in a fight between Black Panther and Captain America.
Very nice. All right. So, Mark, go ahead and give us your final thoughts here on this book, and then we will turn over to Ronnie and we'll get out of here. Huh?
Are we done already?
It's 10:49. It ain't already.
Why should it go well?
Why should it? Mark, was it misspelled like that on the arcade? Why should it goes well?
Yes, it was.
All your base are belong to us.
Oh, ain't that bad. It ain't all your base bad, but that's pretty bad.
Look, I didn't find this as confusing as you guys. I thought it was a fairly straightforward story. It's essentially this group of villains tries to invade Wakanda. They get pretty close to doing it. This actually kind of reminded me of the Inhuman story. It's a very similar thing where everyone's sort of looking to the leader to do something, and then finally at the end he does. But it's like at the ta-da nick of time. And along the way, there's some losses, some stuff happens, things look pretty bleak, and at the end of the day, Black Panther sort of turns it around. I'm not sure if there's a tremendous arc with him as a character. I don't know if he learns anything, if he's better off at the end of the story than he was at the beginning. But, overall, if you don't know who the Black Panther character is, and this is kind of why I picked this book, and you're going into this movie and really all you know about him is what you saw in the Civil War movie, I thought it was a good primer. It was a pretty simple story, gives you a little history of the country itself, tells you a little bit about where the Black Panther came from, and puts him in a situation where you get to see him be the star, of his own series, and take on some familiar villains. I thought it was fun to see some of the villains that were in it. I mean, Rhino is somebody you typically see in Spider-Man, and how many times can you see this little jack-off kid, crack wise and shoot webs at him? It was nice to see the Rhino actually attacking a rhino in Africa, which I thought was pretty funny.
Cool. That was pretty cool.
How the Black Knight again was like a D-level Avengers character, so it was fun to see him kind of be the star of a book. I mean, of all the things that we read and, that deal with the same like dozen or so characters, these were, like I said, the C and D list, and it was fun to see them in their own story.
To jump off just real quick with the
Mark,
Black Knight.
Is are you saying that Black Knight, not Black Knight, but Black Panther is a C and D level character because he's black?
Yeah. He's clearly a minority. He's definitely C&D level.
Oh my gosh.
Don't back me to call
you tried to turn the tables.
I tried. But he's like, no, I'll own this. Come on.
Yeah, no. I will absolutely come out swinging every time. I'm not
Why
afraid.
should it?
Why should it go well for you,
Why should it go well?
Why should it?
Oh, Lord.
The jump off.
Mindy, put it on a t-shirt. The Source Material Podcast.
Why should it goes well?
Podcast. Why should it goes well?
So I wanted to talk about the Black Knight. One thing I wanted to throw in there real quick. It almost seemed like dude's purpose was to drop that sword so T'Challa's sister could kill Radioactive Man. Like, that's the only purpose. He drops the sword, it falls into a cave. She picks it up when she's about to get killed by Radioactive Man, and she slices him in half, which we saw 2 deaths. Radioactive Man's a pretty big villain. I say big. I mean, he's been...
Nobody dies in the Marvel Universe except Uncle Ben.
Yeah. The Claw takes a freaking spear through his chest, and Radioactive Man gets sliced in half, which I've heard of both of those characters. It was kind of surprising to see both of them kind of meet their quote unquote fate here in this book. But okay, Ronnie, what's your final thoughts, man?
Good book. It was written well. Just like I said, just a little confusing at times. Other than that, I enjoyed it. It's cool to see, the origin story of the Black Panther. Did a little more research on him after this because I wanted to know a little more about him. Found out he's like one of the richest, wealthiest, I should say, characters in the Marvel Universe, even wealthier than Tony Stark, actually, because of the vibranium.
Yep.
Very intelligent man. Gives Reed Richards, Tony Stark, and doggone giant man. What's his name? Hank Pym.
Hank Pym.
Run for his money. Run for their money.
So help me God, I almost said Adam Ant.
Huh. That is not where I was going with that.
Oh, man. All right. Well, last question, and we'll get into plugs. Okay. We have the luxury right now to talk about this book, and we're recording this shortly before the release of Black Panther later this week. So, Mark, we'll start with you. You're the movie guy here. Well, Ronnie Adams, you are too.
That's right, I am.
You both have your...
Back off, Radulage.
You guys both have talked movies for quite a while. Black Panther.
My show's better.
Okay. All right. Put it away, gentlemen.
I have nothing out.
Okay.
That I have to put away.
Okay.
That's all Mark.
That's good. That's real good. What do you think of the movie? I mean, what are your expectations here, Mark? Are you surprised that, because it's got one hell of a reception and it ain't even been released?
I mean, it's this year's Wonder Woman. You know,
okay.
I mean, what I mean by that is, look, the movie itself, not to be the Robert Winfrey of this podcast, but let's face some facts here. This movie would have to be so incredibly negative for reviewers, and I'm not saying it's not going to be a genuinely good movie. It probably is. You know, I'm sure Marvel generally doesn't put out bad movies. I think this was shot around the same time as Thor. So it may or may not adopt the new Marvel motif of crack a joke every 3 minutes. But like I said, the fact that we have a very positive black superhero in 2018, the tendency for professional reviewers is to like it before they ever saw it, and to be kind to it regardless of what they see. So my expectations are, I'm sure it'll be good. How good, I don't know. Wonder Woman had its problems too. Wonder Woman was sort of lauded as this triumph for women, which it wasn't. And people got ridiculous. People were as ridiculous with Wonder Woman as they were with the Ghostbusters reboot, both positively and negatively. In by virtue of what those movies were, and I think people are going to be overly positive about this movie too. I think when it's all said and done, it'll be fine. It'll be a fun, entertaining movie that I can take my kids to. I think it'll be a nice representation of Black and the African culture. But as far as it being like a triumph for Black people, I think it's just going to be a movie. I think it'll be just a movie.
It has, I'm just on variety.com right now, an article that was written today or posted today anyway. Black Panther should break the President's Day weekend record of 152 million set in 2016 by Deadpool. Okay. It will easily top the second highest debut for the 4-day holiday set in 2015 when 50 Shades of Grey opened with $93 million.
If you're looking for a movie that speaks to the Black culture and is a triumph for the Black cultural experience, go watch Luke Cage. That did it better. That's the best that I've seen in the superhero genre.
You haven't seen this movie yet, though.
No, it's better.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, I mean, to be honest, I agree with you, Mark. I mean, I don't think you're going to be able to identify with this, with this superhero coming out of Africa.
Luke Cage came out in the middle of, the perceived crisis of cops shooting Black kids on corners wearing hoodies. And in the midst of all that was a bulletproof Black guy with a hoodie. Mm-hmm. Okay, that spoke to the culture. The mythical king of make-believe country with make-believe fucking alloys is not speaking to the Black cultural experience, no matter what African garb they're wearing.
I cannot argue that. That's for sure. Ronnie Adams, what's your thoughts here, man? Black Panther opening this weekend. What's your expectations? Give us your thoughts.
I am looking for a good superhero movie. I'm not looking for something to speak to cultures as a whole, and I don't look for that anytime I look for a movie. I guess it's shut up, Ronnie. I can't say that.
No, talk, God damn it. Where were you last night? No, go ahead.
Dang. I was here at home. I was just going to be just make a snide remark, but I guess it's my privilege.
Stop beating around the bush.
Jumping out there saying that I don't look for this because I already have it. No, I just look for a good movie because I look for this because movies are an escape from reality for me, as they should be from anybody. I look for a good, just a good character, a good story, something I can cheer, somebody I can cheer on, somebody I can get excited about. If he is African American, even that's even better. But that's just part of the story and the part of who he is. That's not what I go for. That's not what I'm looking for solely. Somebody. I didn't watch Rocky because I'm of Italian lineage. I watched it because it was a good underdog story of somebody, finding their way through their craft.
And it won the Cold War.
Yeah, Rocky won the Cold War against those
Rocky
villainous Russians.
Or Rocky 4 or Rocky 3. I'm confused.
Rocky 4, you fucking anti-American person, you.
We've had this discussion.
The Russians are always the villains in any 80s movie. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's not me. I didn't write these movies. Jeez. I want you to go back and watch Ruskies.
By the way, the word I was looking for last week was Bolsheviks.
Oh, the revolutionaries?
Yes.
I got you. All right.
I was so mad at myself when I was listening to that today, and I'm just like, you idiot. The word was Bolsheviks. God damn it. They were a tag team, for Christ's sake.
Wow. But that's what I'm looking
wrestling reference.
Well, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a good movie, and I think I'm going to get that because Marvel doesn't put out crap.
Yeah, Pat.
I'm really surprised,
Pat,
to be honest.
I think the world of you, buddy. I think you're a great guy, but I think you're too rough on these movies.
Take it easy. Take it easy.
Chill. Have a drink. Go to see a movie.
I'm going into this thing again. These are comic book characters that I don't know a whole lot about. So it really blows my mind that there's this much hype for this movie already. Dude, it really does.
There are black actors buying out entire theaters so that they can make sure that some black kid who doesn't have the money to go see it can see this movie. I mean, when you say like, oh, it's projected to be, to have this huge opening. Okay, there's a couple of reasons. One, much like, like wrestling or anything else, when you have years and years and years of good publicity and successful movies, yeah, when the new one comes out, it's gonna do well. You would have to have a couple of misses like DC, to where you have a situation where films don't do well, and Justice League becomes the 15th highest grossing movie of the year. That's so fucking embarrassing. I don't even want to talk about it.
It is.
But it took time for them to get there, just as it took time. Look, if they're talking about like it's projected to have this huge opening, that's after a string of successes. And let's remember, the next one that comes out, which is Avengers: Infinity War, is going to blow Black Panther out of the water. That's probably going to do Star Wars numbers.
Yeah, considering
Civil War and Age of Ultron both made over $1 billion. Number one. Number two, like I said, when you have like the difference between like say like a Black Panther and a Doctor Strange, right? What is Doctor Strange? Doctor Strange is an old white guy in a cape, looks like fucking Liberace, right? So so that speaks to comic book fans and people who like Marvel movies, but that's not reaching like a cultural zeitgeist or anything. This does. It doesn't matter what this character is or does or can do. All that matters is his name is Black Panther. There's a reason why the CW, of all the characters they chose to make another series out of, went with Black Lightning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's now, signaling.
What I was saying earlier, what I was saying earlier is what I look for. I'm not saying that this doesn't, it shouldn't, or it doesn't, or why does it? I'm glad it does, because it could reach some kid that never really thought about comic books before. He could be the next great comic book artist or writer because that gets him involved in it, or
inspired.
Just, or anything,
Yeah.
It could inspire these kids to be doctors, lawyers, military personnel, or whatever. That open up a boys and girls club. I don't care. That's awesome, and I think that's fantastic. But when I go to a movie, that's not what I look for. I just look for an escape. Now, are there movies that have inspired me? Absolutely. But that's not what I went for. I just went to watch a movie.
I don't think I've seen any of the previews, trailers, whatnot for this movie. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. I think I may have seen one trailer. Do we have any idea who the main villain is going into this?
It's Claw and Eric Killmonger.
Yep. Okay. So Killmonger is going to be part of it. I called him the hate monger. Maybe it is Killmonger. I can't remember. Did I?
Wow. Did you call him hate? Did you call him hate monger because he's black?
Hey. Oh my gosh!
I just anyway. Yeah. Okay. So that's cool. Claw's going to be in it again. This is a property of Marvel that I never thought would ever, dude. As a kid, if we were talking movies and you told me, yeah, Avengers is going to be a great movie, in 15 years, 20 years, I'd be like, okay, yeah, that sounds great. As a kid, if you would have came to me and said that Black Panther was going to be a movie in that many years, it probably would have blew my mind because I wouldn't have understood that character could gain that much popularity to become that big of a property to make it to the screen.
Shoot, in that case, Ant-Man.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, like, you guys realize they're now having to. If you look at what Marvel's done just in the last couple of years, once it got through the Avengers proper, without having X-Men or Spider-Man to draw on originally, they had to start digging deep really quick into their C and D level characters. As it is, the Avengers was made up of A and B, was made up of 1 or 2 A characters and all B characters. And then, you'd get your C and D in there, depending on which iteration of the Avengers we were talking about. So when they started getting into phase 3 and now, the upcoming phase 4, it's well, fuck, who haven't we made a movie about that we have rights to? But at this point, like I said, whatever Marvel puts out, they have an automatic fandom that's going to come see them because unlike DC, they haven't fucked their movies yet.
Okay.
Right.
Sorry. Colton has come down the stairs. I mean, it is apparently important that he tells me about something about a robot, and then he's just went back upstairs now. So, Mark Radulich, I heard 80% of that, and I agree with 100% of it.
No, don't do that.
What? I hope you...
in this instant, yes, you can. But as a rule, don't do that.
That's a rule.
The faster you come to understand that I am 100% right 110% of the time, the better you'll all be.
Your math is even wrong.
My math is 120% right.
Agree with him. The more it
just ask Rick Steiner.
What is happening right now?
Just ask Rick Steiner.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
I think it's time. It's time to close up. It's time to close up shop. Great discussion tonight. I mean, hey, it's an okay book.
Can I just say this one last thing?
Absolutely.
I don't want people to think that I'm against this movie or look. I'm perfectly fine with the idea of a Black Panther movie. When it was announced, I was like, okay, that's fun, that's cool. I'm glad they're digging into their D-level characters and all. And giving them their own opportunity to shine. And again, because of the way that Marvel operates and the way they make their movies, generally speaking, these are pretty well-directed, well-acted features. I'm just, it's like with any other of my podcasts. I just call it as I see it. It is what it is, and but it's not a cultural phenomenon. It's just not. And I think the urge to call it that is the thing that I'm making fun of and yelling about, not the fact that the movie was made itself. And like I said, I'm gonna see it twice in one weekend. Believe me, I'm not against this movie. I'm really not against like people buying out entire shows for little kids to go see it. I'm like, if that's what you want to do with your money and your time, and that's something you believe in. Believe me, I would prefer that than dressing up like a vagina and like standing out on the fucking lawn of the White House of all things. If you're making sort of a political statement.
I worry about the plot of this movie because, again, I don't.
What Mark just said.
I don't know much about what exactly is going to go on in it, but I'll tell you right now, if it's something like this book, I don't know if it's going to be that captivating to where I'm going to be like, holy shit, did you see the new Black Panther? Because look,
how's that go again?
It's politics, which bores the shit out of me. Okay, I'm not going to have that much fun watching a kingdom have to deal with the fact that
Have you not seen the trailer?
I've not seen the trailer.
It's not politics. Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a huge fucking car chase right in the middle of this thing.
Why? Because is it because of somebody got some vibranium and they're taking off with it or something? I bet you that's the whole plot, right? Somebody's got some vibranium. They're going to make a bomb or a weapon out of it. And
I don't know, Starcher. Let's find out and watch the movie.
God. Eric Killmonger steals the Black Panther's hubcaps and takes off with them.
Then my vibranium hubcap. Get back here with them.
And thus a car chase ensues.
One of the characters found out the other one voted for Trump, and he's chasing him down.
Oh man.
Go see the movie. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm going to go see the movie. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind. I've got Movie Pass. I'm going to go see this. I'm going to try and see it opening weekend.
Not for nothing. If I can go see 50 Shades Freed, you can go see Black Panther.
Yeah. I'm going to drive to Florida and punch you in.
He already done did it, Ronnie Adams. He done did it. He done went and saw it last night.
That's right. I did it with someone that wasn't my wife. What do you think about that?
I think you need help.
A lot of people do.
For seeing it at all. This is okay. Quick rant, and then we can go.
Oh my God.
50 Shades.
50 Shades rant
is okay. We have a culture right now that is what?
That's exactly that's the culture we're in right now. Generation.
Are you saying about what I'm getting ready to say, or the fact that I brought up?
That's the culture. In my opinion,
I'm talking about Mark.
Please continue.
No, I asked you a question.
What, sir?
I said, are you saying that because of what I'm getting ready to say, or because of the culture?
You started your sentence with "we live in a culture," and I'm like, "Oh, this is not going to be good."
Oh, God,
wait a second, Mark. You missed your cue, sir. When you hear that, what comes to mind?
This is not going to go well.
Why should it? Why should it go well?
Will you please continue, sir? Get to your point.
My God, Mark, chill. We live in a culture that is very, and I'm not saying yes, no, maybe, right or wrong. I'm saying it's very quick to call, to point out sexual misconduct and rape.
Oh boy.
But we have a book that, to me, from what has been, I've never read them.
Ronnie Adams.
I've never read them. I will admit to that, but I don't want to read them. But the scenes in it, that are depicted in it.
Oh wait, you're talking about 50 Shades. I'm like, is he still talking about Black Panther? When was
no?
I'm
talking about 50 Shades.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got lost.
Oh my God. Anyway, the scenes that are that are described in it are very much sexual misconduct and rape to me.
It's not rape if she's consenting.
Well, no, but you look at it. Is she really consenting? Is she falling under the?
Well, she's not a barn animal. Yes, she's consenting.
Dear God, man. What I'm saying is she falling under his spell.
Oh, come on.
Whatever. You know what I mean.
What?
You know what I mean.
Why do you?
Anyway.
No, I don't know what you mean. Why do you hate women?
I don't hate women.
Why,
I love women.
Why is your contention?
That
why
is
is your
exactly what I'm
contention
saying. Is that this book and these movies are doing nothing but bringing.
Dude, that
you,
theater
Mark
was
Radulich.
full of women who thought who wanted that woman's life, beatings.
Yeah, exactly. But if John Boy down in the trailer park that doesn't make as much money as
isn't going
whatever,
to see 50 Shades.
As what's his name? Something Gray.
Earl Grey.
Mr. Gray.
Dorian Gray.
It's Earl.
So
his name is Earl.
They don't make it. They're not millionaires like Dorian. Whatever. Shut up and listen to me and let me make my point. Y'all done flustered me enough to finish a freaking sentence.
Get you some milk and some tea.
I can't breathe again.
God.
Nice hot cup of milk and tea. Calm those nerves right now.
Anyway, what I'm saying is, if a everyday normal guy is into this stuff, just the same way as a rich eccentric, billionaire or whatever he is, then it's considered creepy.
I feel you,
opinion. Right? That's an opinion, not shared by others, but that's one opinion.
No, that's an opinion not shared by you.
Ronnie Adams is mad. It's 11:15. Ronnie Adams took a nap, and now he's mad.
We're in the middle of a Black Panther podcast. We're now arguing over the merits of the 50 Shades books.
That started out as friggin' Twilight fan fiction.
Good point. Good point.
Ronnie Adams, who are you to judge as the people's kicks, or El Dandy for that matter?
I'm judging the fact that these books and these movies are trash.
You gonna burn them?
No.
Books are for burning.
No matter what I believe that, they're
books
out
are for
there.
burning.
All right. Can I call it? Ronnie Adams, did you get it all out?
Yeah, you just cut it all out of there. No, I don't. I can't have an opinion that Mark doesn't poop on.
No, see, here's the thing. I've not seen the movies, not read the books. So I'm just like, whatever. People want to go watch the stuff, go right ahead. But I can see where you're coming from, Mark or Ronnie.
I don't.
You're done, Mark.
I saw the movie, and again, I was telling Jesse this earlier. I was more interested in the girls around me reaction to what was happening than it was the actual movie. The actual movie is like way stupid. It's essentially like watching this couple, get married, and it's like a year in the life of this couple who likes to get a little kinky in the bedroom every once in a while. That's it. That's the movie. The only interesting part about this was that along the way, they fucked over this one guy who at the end of the movie, spoilers, at the end of the movie, like kidnaps her sister-in-law. And there's like 2 minutes of an action sequence. And then
that is written well.
The rest of it is like, it's just girl fucking jerk off material. That's it. That's all that movie is. It's just jerk off material for chicks.
Ronnie, I want to tell you a story I already told Mark before we got on here. I went to the theater to go watch the Maze Runner movie.
Mm-hmm.
Ran into a guy I know. Me and the wife. Shut up. Ran into a guy that me and the wife know. Right? Mindy
it's
knew.
Only a taste of what I go through at Star Trek.
Mindy knew this guy from working with him back in a few years back. Anyway, the guy's in line at the concessions, and I mean, he is dressed up. I'm talking like suit, tie. I mean, I thought he worked for the theater there for a second, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Hey, what's up, man? I see you look good tonight." He's like, "Thanks." He's like, "My wife made me dress up so I could bring her here to go watch the 50 Shades movie." Now, Ronnie, he dressed up to take her to the movies, but didn't go watch the movie. He was just escorting her to the theater, and his wife made him do that. That's how crazy these chicks are.
All right, so she can get all hot and bothered, take him home, pretend he's somebody else, and beat each other with whips while wearing leather helmets or whatever they do.
Why is that a problem for you?
It's not.
It certainly sounded like there was a problem there. But
whatever.
It's not a problem.
Whatever.
Shut up, Rattledge.
I don't care what they do in the bedroom. I'm just saying, don't call guys misogynistic, abusive, and all these other hot button terms when all you do is fantasize about somebody who's misogynistic, abusive.
You realize those are not the same things, though, right? That basically, if a guy says "blow me" and I'll give you a promotion, is not the same as two consensual adults engaging in a sensual sexual affair.
Oh my gosh! But you're okay. No, it's not at all. But that's not what.
So why are you lumping them together?
Why is everybody else lumping them together, Mark?
I have no idea why anyone would be lumping them together, because I don't see this as in any way. First of all, again, considering that this is written by a woman for women who was seen by women who were all enjoying the movie, I'm failing to see the misogyny. Number one. Number two.
But again, the thing about, okay, if a guy would tell a girl,
I can't believe I'm defending these fucking movies. Ugh.
Exactly. I got you by the short and curlies on this when you're defending 50 Shades movies.
And you know what? I am the defense attorney extraordinaire on trial. I can do this all day, Ronnie Adams. Let's go, Iron Man.
Okay. The thing about it is, though, is if a guy came into...
You notice how I just made him the villain of this?
Yeah, you did, you dick. But what I'm saying is, if a guy comes around and tries to boss a woman around, whether it's sexual or whatever, whether she's into it or not, everybody around them is going to say, "Oh my God, he's so controlling. Oh my God, that's the most misogynistic."
They may say that out loud, and inside they're going, "And I wish he'd control me."
Dude, this is just getting.
Number two, if you had seen the movie, Ronnie Adams, and now I challenge you to do so, Gauntlet dropped.
No, I will not see that movie.
You will see that she as a character is constantly defying him, constantly disobeying him, and constantly promoting her rights as a individual modern woman that drives him straight up the wall, both good and bad. That's kind of the nature of their relationship, is that he wants somebody that he can both control and is willing to not listen to him at the same time. It's all very confusing and complex.
No, it's all garbage.
And it's exactly the kind of garbage women love. So I don't know why we're arguing about this, being, two males with penises and all.
Can we call it? I want to go to bed. I really do. Just to go to sleep, not to do anything crazy or kinky.
Not to beat each other with whips and wearing.
No, I just want to sleep.
If Mindy doesn't consent to it, I don't think Jesse's going to do it.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So, Ronnie, you're going to go see the movie.
No, I'm not.
Report back next week.
No. I'd rather sew my sack to my leg than go see the movie.
Okay, so the girl I saw with is online. I'm typing her a message like, so I just got backed into the corner of defending the 50 Shades movie. You're welcome.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's do plugs. Let's find out where other people can find out great conversations such as this one.
This was not a great conversation. All this did was make Ronnie angry.
So is this going up as Black Panther and 50 Shades free review?
You can just go ahead and assume that I might edit every bit of the 50 Shades conversation into fucking oblivion.
Good,
okay,
thank you.
I think you should cut it, but then you should release it as a bonus episode.
No, I don't think it should ever see the light of day. Ever.
Bonus. All right, let's get into plugs.
The knob off and shove it up your ass.
My phone. Oh my dear God! I'm using my phone as a way to be on here tonight, so I can't do the air horn.
No, okay. Well,
so you're welcome, Jesse.
Thank you very much. Okay, so Mark Rattledge, you go first here, sir. Give us what's coming up on the network, what we got to look forward to, all that great stuff.
Coming up tomorrow on the network is Ronnie Adams and I will continue our debate over the virtue of the 50 Shades movies.
Oh,
we will read the books. We'll review them in their entirety, and then we'll go back and review the movies and compare them. Right, Ronnie?
No.
Oh, she's responding. Hang on. So I wrote. So I just backed into I just got backed into a corner where I'm defending the 50 Shades movies. You're welcome, smiley face. And then she says, "Yes, defend away, my hero." Ah, dick, got you. What do you think about that, Tony?
I'm not talking to you.
He's done. He's done for the night.
Ronnie's checking out. Okay. Let's see. All right. So tomorrow, speaking of defending things that are indefensible, we'll be doing an on trial where I have the dubious task of prosecuting Training Day, and Sean will be defending it. He gets the easy job again. And then on the Metal Hammer of Doom, it's Valentine's Day. What better way to spend Valentine's Day than by reviewing Israeli metal band Orphan Land?
Oh, yeah.
Depending on when you are listening to this, if you're listening to this on the Rattlevision Broadcasting Network, then tomorrow night on the Rattlevision Broadcasting Network was the illustrious return of Damn You Hollywood with Robert Winfrey, and we'll be reviewing the actual Black Panther movie. And the day after that is the Metal Hammer of Doom's review of Philip H. Anselmo and the Illegals, choosing mental illness as a virtue. And then we'll end the week with Aquaman Volume 1, The Trench from the New 52 run, Black Sail Season 2, right, Ronnie? Right, Ronnie?
Mm.
and Metal Hammer of Doom. Oh, Ronnie is really mad at me now. I feel bad. At least you didn't yell at me like my wife did. It's a whole other story. Anyway, Metal Hammer of Doom reviews the new Rumahoy, The Triumph of Piracy. Jesse, there's a song on there called Netflix and Yar.
I've heard it, sir. I listened to most of the album that night while I was waiting for my daughter to get out of the movies.
Isn't it great?
Oh, it was interesting. It's that vocalist. Well, we'll talk about that on
That's Jesse speak for I hated it.
No, it wasn't that bad. Certainly wasn't that bad. It's no Ailstorm. We'll just put it that way.
It's no Ailstorm. It's no Ailstorm for dogs either.
Can't top that.
No, of course not.
Is that it?
I'm good.
All right. Ronnie Adams of the
Screaming Boy.
What
do you got, man? Give us some plugs here. What do we got to look forward to?
I have a show called the Screaming Boy Podcast, and we are a little behind in recording right now, but we're going to get something out here soon, within the next week or so.
Can I make a suggestion?
What?
Oh no! Don't let him do this to you, Ronnie Adams. Don't let him.
I think on the Screaming Boy Podcast should dedicate an entire show to the 50 Shades series.
Let's do a whole week. Let's alternate movie, book, movie, book, movie. Okay? Yeah. Sounds like a plan. No. Ronnie Adams?
No.
Okay. What? Continue.
Anyway, so we just released a couple of I don't even remember what they're about right now. But we released a couple of shows recently. Go back and check them out. Got some stuff coming up. In March, I will be going to North Carolina Comic-Con, so you'll be seeing a lot of pictures, hopefully some videos, and I want to get some maybe a couple of interviews out of there because it's really cool. I went to the North Carolina Comic-Con before when it was in Durham, North Carolina. This one's in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I've met some interesting people there, and they've been to the last couple of cons that I've been to. So hopefully I can get get a few words from them. And then in July, I will be going to Raleigh SuperCon, where they just announced a new guest added to the list, and that is Lou Ferrigno will be there. So the guest list at the Raleigh SuperCon has just been insane. They just keep adding more people. It seems like every week. And I'm really excited to be a part of that. So to go, actually was blessed enough to get some VIP tickets to the SuperCon. So I am really, 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 really excited for that because it allows me to skip a few lines. But John Barrowman from the Arrowverse, Doctor Who, Legends of Tomorrow, Flash, Torchwood, Arrow, the Doctor Who and Torchwood, of course, are not in the Arrowverse, but he plays Dark Archer. Dave Bautista, Christian Cage of WWE and TNA, Michael Dorn, who played Worf on Star Trek New Generation, Lou Ferrigno, Mick Foley, Ryan Hurst from Sons of Anarchy and Remember the Titans, and he also was in Saving Private Ryan, I do believe. Gangrel is going to be there.
I got to meet him one time. It was pretty cool.
Gangrel, cool.
Yep.
Sean Gunn, Amy Jo Johnson, Jerry the King Lawler, Lloyd Kaufman, Trish Stratus, Diamond Dallas Page, William Shatner, Steve Whitmire, who he does a lot of the Muppets and Sesame Street, things like that. Eddie Barrows and Jim Starlin is going to be there, which I'm really super excited about. So there's a lot of people going to be there, and I'm really stoked for this because also they have what's called Fantasy Super Cosplay Wrestling.
Oh yeah.
So I'm going to get to see Skeletor and his minions take on, I don't know who's going to be the baby face of that, but it's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, if it ain't a He-Man cosplay.
Gosh, I can't
Come
remember
on.
who. Yeah. So, I mean, they've got Bane, Skeletor, and Evil Lyn are all in one team, and Deadpool is there. So
Interesting.
Yeah, don't miss Skeletor, Evil Lyn, Mr. Satan. What? Deadpool, Bane, Jinx, Ray, Yoko, Littner, Roadhog, Junkrat, Star-Lord, Super Mario, Spider-Man, Daredevil, Melina, Harley Quinn, and more. So
is there going to be a whole show devoted to
everybody
that?
wrestles in cosplay.
Oh, that's insane, dude. That's going to be awesome, though.
That's going to be a lot of fun. And then also I've got something going on with extralife.org. Extralife.org is taking donations for Children's Miracle Network, and they're doing it through gaming. So if you ever see me live on Twitch, SBP Ronnie, usually I'm on there just playing, Call of Duty, Fortnite, PUBG, a lot of different games. You'll see, the link to there. But extralife.org, I'm actually taking donations up to $100. Up to $500. Hopefully, I can meet that and double that before it ends in November the 3rd. So I'm taking donations all the way up to November the 3rd, which I will have a 24-hour gaming marathon to finish it off. So we're doing these donations for Children's Miracle Network, and all of the proceeds that I'm doing is going to Duke Children's Hospital. So it is definitely for a really good purpose that we're doing this, and it's for a good cause, and it's been a lot of fun. Cole Marin-Tet is actually who inspired me to do this, and I know Sean's involved in it too, Mark. So Sean Comer, and it is you can go to extralife.org, look up my name, Ronnie Adams, and you'll find the webpage there where you can donate. If you see it on Facebook, which you can find Screaming Boy Podcast on Facebook, just look up Screaming Boy Podcast. You can find us on Twitter, Screaming Boy PR. Find us on Instagram, Screaming Boy Podcast. If you see that, please feel free to open your wallet and donate a little bit. And if you don't want to donate or can't donate, if it's something that isn't financially possible for you or anything like that, then all you got to do is hit that share button. Just share it so others can see it and maybe open their wallet. So we're looking to get $500 and then double that.
That's a great cause.
Open your heart. Ronnie will make you love him.
Huh.
Okay. Now, Ronnie, I wanted to ask real quick: is
It's
Adam doing?
not that hard. If you sorry,
Is Adam doing some roll D20 or something?
Yeah, we're also on roll20 .com net something. We're
Something or other.
playing. Yeah, but if you just Google roll20, all one word, roll20,
you say
then
giggle?
huh?
Did you
Giggle
say
it?
giggle?
Giggle it.
I want to
Google.
giggle.
If you
Just
Google
a little bit.
Oh dear God!
So you giggle it.
If
Just
you Google
a little
roll20,
bit.
you'll find it. But Adam and I are in there. We're playing a little bit of Dungeons and Dragons online.
Are you guys recording it?
Can we get a
No.
Can we get a shirt that says we would just want to giggle it just a little bit?
My shirt for source material is just a picture of me holding hand to forehead,
Arm.
looking down.
I was gonna say no. The Ronnie Adams T-shirt for source material is just a neck and folded arms and the words harumph.
No, I don't. See, somebody said harumph today that I go harumph. I don't go harumph.
It's Ronnie against the world tonight, ladies and gentlemen. He's
the back
fucking pissed.
The back of the T-shirt says, "And I keep coming back."
Yeah.
Somebody said that today on Facebook. Who was that? I'm like, I don't do that.
Jordan Lowe.
Jordan Lowe. I'm like, no.
No, you
Jordan,
totally harumph.
I don't do that. I'm actually
You're totally
pleasant.
Hilarious.
I'm going to harumph you right in the balls if you don't shut up.
There's a lot of harumphing, especially when we disagree.
What day is it today, Ronnie Adams? Harumph day. It's every day.
Ronnie Adams just walking through the harumphy humph.
Ronnie, don't ever be late for a podcast again, okay? Because I really don't want this duplicated in any way, ever. I don't want to have to. Oh, my goodness. Giving you too much crap tonight, man. We apologize from the bottom of our hearts. Speaking
I like
of that,
how you're apologizing for Mark.
Yeah, well, that's.
I haven't. I said I'm sorry.
He'll sing it to you.
Sorry.
Believe it or not, that's so much more
sings it
genuine.
to me, and I have a problem with the validity of that apology.
All right. We got to get out of here. It's almost 2012. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jesse Starcher. You just heard the Source Material Podcast. If you are listening to this live on YouTube,
God bless you.
Oh my gosh. I don't know how you've made it this far. We put the raw stuff on YouTube, and then we edit this sucker and put up a fun gag reel over there on the blogtalkradio.com. Just search Rattlich. That's R-A-D-E.
It is amazing that these things go like 3 hours, and and then you just.
It's a 15-minute episode with a 5-minute gag reel.
I look at the post. It's like, wow, really, an hour? I remember being up a lot later. A lot later than that. What the hell are you cutting?
Oh, there's hey, you would be surprised. And I think I've told you guys this before, but there's a button that you can push on there that eliminates the gaps of silence. And there are times, usually when we go about an hour and a half, where it takes 15 minutes of just complete silence out of there. 15 minutes. Isn't that amazing?
Is there a button to remove harumphs?
Clearly not, because I haven't been, or at least I can't find it anyway. It must be in the advanced settings. I'll have to see. But anyway, yes, ladies and gentlemen, you can go check out blogtalkradio.com. Make sure to go give the Rattlich in Broadcasting Network Facebook page a like to stay up on top of all the great podcasts that we have to offer. As mentioned before, we've got MMA. We talk wrestling. We have all sorts of fun podcasts on metal. And a lot of stuff in the archives here for this show here, Source Material. Like I said, we're at 150 episodes. There's probably a book that you may have wanted to read or at least hear some people discuss, maybe kind of find out what happened in there as well.
Like
I'm sure
listen to us ruin it.
Yeah, listen to us ruin it. We will not be discussing 50 Shades of Grey.
If there's a comic book. If there's a comic book, can we cover it?
50 Shades of Grey of the Booty Hole. I'm not talking about it on this podcast ever again.
I will quit.
50 Shades of Grey graphic novel.
No.
Graphic is right.
Tell me there isn't one, Mark.
Good.
All right. He immediately didn't go, yes! Oh!
I would have been so happy.
Yes, you would have.
I'm
Ronnie's misery is just like it's like the nectar of the gods.
Feed off of it.
He does. He really does. He's like got big old chalices full of your misery, and he just continues to drink them left and right.
The tears of Ronnie's pain.
All right, I'm ready to go to bed. Folks, you know where to find us now. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, all sorts of great platforms out there. I don't know if we're on Spotify. I don't know if that's something that we can actually be on Spotify or if we have to be in some kind of a partnership. But I'll tell you right now.
Don't think we're on Spotify, and I don't know how to get on Spotify.
Okay, all right. I didn't know if that was something.
I tried one time, and I don't know if that's either or not.
So it's some kind. It's some kind of a special deal. All right. Well, I'm not gonna. Then don't go looking for us there because we're not on there. So I wouldn't suggest you go to that as a platform. But yes, blogtalkradio.com is our home. Go search the archives, ladies and gentlemen. I'm ready to get out of here. Ronnie Adams.
Yeah.
All right, Mark Radulich. Yeah. I'm ready to get out of here.
Wait, stop. There's two parody books of 50 Shades. One's called
Oh boy. He can't even get it out. I guarantee you it's not as funny as you're making it out. It can't be. There's no possible way.
Okay, stop. You're making me laugh.
He's gone into the Muttley laugh.
Okay, here we go.
All right.
One's called 50 Shades of Oy Vey.
Oh, come on.
Wow.
The other one, wait, there's one more, and then you can sign off.
No, I can get out of here. Okay.
Then there's the other one that's called 50 Shames of Earl Grey.
Oh, come on. You're
good night, folks.
Bullshit. All right.
There's a link. I'm gonna send you the link.
Well,
there's always a link.
Isn't that serendipitous? All right. So yes, Ronnie Adams, Mark Radulich. I'm Jesse Starcher. Everybody have. I forgot to find that stop broadcast button. Have a good.